these are three short little parallel lines that went west out of downtown Minneapolis: 6th Avenue North, Glenwood Avenue, and Bryn Mawr. And each of them are like 2 miles long. Here's the track map of the Twin Cities. This is of Minneapolis. This is the not to scale where the downtown is much larger than it actually was. But this is 6th Avenue North, which you now know as Olson Highway. And here it says Western Avenue. That's what the name was in 1930 when this map was done. It's been Glenwood Avenue for a long time, going out to Worth Park. And then finally, the Bryn Mawr line. Now, the 6th Avenue North and Bryn Mawr lines quit in like 1938-39. Glenwood Avenue lasted until 1954. It was one of the last 4 or so lines to be abandoned. So we'll first go 6th Avenue North. And it started at the Y where the University Avenue from Minneapolis to St. Paul, the interurban, terminated. And this is that Y at the corner of 5th Street North and 5th Avenue North. By the way, a couple of poles of the steel poles at the end of this Y are now at Como Harriet. So this line ran with itself for a while, but until for its last couple of decades, it operated as an extension of the interurban. There'd be one of these every 5 minutes or less, and they'd end here. But about every 20 minutes, they'd extend one a couple of miles out 6th Avenue North. And so here's the Y hidden behind the building. Here's the old Ford Model T plant, which is now the Ford Center. Target Field is currently right here, and you're looking down 5th Street. And if you can see this track, it looks like it's going around the corner. It ends right there, but that was the 6th Avenue North line continuing on. And so here we are by the Y. We're looking, this car is about to back into the Y. And then the track went around the corner. Here's a better view taken in 1950 of the track, and you can see where it used to go. By the way, the Metro Transit offices where I worked was right here. And so if you went about a block west, you got to the corner of North 7th Street and 6th Avenue, Olson Highway now. So you're looking out 6th Avenue. Now, the reason, even though this line quit early, that we got we have a bunch of pictures of it, is that somebody from the city went out and documented it fairly reasonably before they went and tore everything out and turned it into Olson Highway. So this is the Penn Fremont line, Chicago Penn Fremont crossing on its way up. And there is a track connection here, although I don't know if that connection ever really got used. And now we're 2 blocks west of there at the corner of Bryant. And this was really kind of not a great commercial strip, but we've got a flooring company and a dry goods store and Barney's Lunch and a laundry here, a hand laundry. But here you can see on the car, it says to St. Paul, indicating it's going to go all the way. And here's one of those little bobby traffic signals. This is the same block. You can see it's 1936. They're planning to get rid of it because I think it went in 38. So this is the same block looking west.
That's a cool,
pardon me?
tow truck.
Yeah, old tow truck. And now here we're a couple of blocks further. This is, I believe, where Emerson is today, which is sort of the low spot. This thing crossed what was a wetland at one time, I believe. And so you're looking back east. And this is out at about, I want to say, James or so. And we've got 2 views here. This is actually a pretty nice little business district. You can look back and see downtown way back here. Here's another view of that same block. So we got Sumner Shoes, we got a drugstore, we've got a market. We've actually got 2 markets, 2 grocery stores. Here's a bakery, here's a garage. So it was kind of here's Paramount Pies, cakes, and rolls. That might have been, well, that wouldn't have been Wolf's Bakery because it's a different owner. So anyway, but this is what disappeared when they put in Olson Highway.
Got a great barber pole over there on the side.
Yeah, yeah, that's very nice. Barber pole here. They got a shoe repair shop.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could recreate that? Wow, somewhere.
Well, this is what this is now what everyone's trying to do. Walkable city, small storefronts.
Excelsior's already got that.
Yeah, this is the corner of Newton Avenue. There's a little hill going up to Penn Avenue. Here's another grocery store. And it went as far as Russell, 2 blocks past Penn, and this is where the Y was. And I think what's happened is the highway department has already bought out this building, and it's going to get torn down. So that's what there was. That's what there was in 6th Avenue. It was a pretty short line. Now Glenwood lasted a whole lot longer. Glenwood, of course, was through routed with 4th Avenue South. And so it went through downtown on 6th Street. Here it is at 6th and Nicollet. At 6th and Nicollet, going by the Donaldson store. This was the old Donaldson's glass block that they went and put an Art Deco facade on because it looked too Victorian. Pillsbury building is still there. But this is the Northwest. This is the former home of Bill Ahrens, the Northwestern National Bank building, which burned down spectacularly. Mona worked there too. And so now this is the corner of 6th and Hennepin. Looking south, here's the Plymouth building on the corner. So then it went one more block to 1st Avenue North and turned onto 1st Avenue North by Butler Square. And it went a block to 7th Street. And here we are up in the triangular building at 7th and Glenwood and 1st Avenue North. So it was on 6th Street, turned the corner, ran the block here, and then what am I saying? Oh yeah, and then the way the tracks angle here is they're going to angle onto Glenwood Avenue because Glenwood comes into that. It's a 5-pointed intersection. The Produce State Bank, which reflected where the downtown farmers market used to be. Here's the Produce Bank again. This is a Bill Olson photo, and he's up in the 2nd story of the bus depot, which is now the 1st Avenue nightclub.
That's really a beautiful photograph.
And what's cool is, you think Greyhound buses are big? Look at it compared to the streetcar. And then here's another one he took, and this is the car coming off of Glenwood Avenue. That previous high shot was up in this building. And so this is 7th Street over here, and this is 1st Avenue North. And I'm not sure where I found this one. This was out of somebody's photo album, but this is that same corner. Very 40s. And now we've moved 2 blocks out Glenwood Avenue, and this is a newspaper photo from the Armistice Day blizzard. As you can see, everything is all backed up. People are hoofing it out of downtown.
6 cars lined up there.
Yeah, 1941. And this is blurry, but it's the only picture we have of the Glenwood Avenue Bridge crossing over the railroad corridor, the Minneapolis and St. Louis and the Great Northern. And this bridge lasted, I don't know, until maybe the 80s and was replaced with a newer bridge. This is the Munsingware building sticking up behind it. And so this is a girder, a center girder in the bridge, and then there's another roadway on the other side. And at some time, I think in the 1970s, a car full of teenagers rammed into the end of this girder, and a couple of them were killed. And this is just shortly after the line was, this is July of '54. The line quit, I want to say in February or something. And so the overhead wires were down. But here you are crossing Lyndale, looking west out Glenwood, and this is the Munsingware building here. And on the far side of the building at Aldridge Avenue was a Y. And they staged streetcars here to get the Munsingware break. And they didn't just take the 4th Avenue line. There were enough of these that I don't know which lines had cars through routed from here. Probably a couple of the big ones like Chicago Avenue. But they could get on here and then go right to whatever line they were on. So this is at Penn Avenue looking west. And this is the former women's hospital, which now is condos or apartments. It's been redone. It was a nursing home for quite a few years. But apparently, I think it was run by a Catholic nun or something like that. I'm a little vague on it, but the idea was it was a hospital just for women. And this is a couple of blocks west of there at, I think, Russell Avenue. And you get down, this is just west after crossing the bridge over the Minneapolis, Northfield and Southern and the Great Northern. And this is where there's a big community garden now. The park starts on the north side of the street, but there are still homes on the south side of the street for a couple, 3 blocks down to Xerxes. And then at Xerxes, which is the city limits, technically the line went into Golden Valley because the park is actually in Golden Valley. And so what it did at Xerxes is it swung over to the side of the road for a block. Whoops.
Yes.
And here you see back here where it swung over, and it ran for a block to get up to the Y. And here we are a little farther back. You can see the spread of tracks for the Y. And here's the Y itself. This happens to be a fan trip. And then the streetcar then went back in. And here's the shelter that was built by the WPA and is still standing there today. And here's another view on the Y. So the Bryn Mawr line. Don't have a lot of pictures of it. It ran the length of Hennepin Avenue down to 12th Street, which is where it diverged. And you can tell it's a Bryn Mawr car because it's one of the lightweights. It was a very lightly traveled line, so they used the lightweights. This is interesting here, that there was a downtown office for Minnetonka Boat Works. I'm assuming that's a sales office. And then we have a Hennepin Hardware.
The Orpheum Theater sign is worth reading.
Yeah, Richard Dix, Jackie Cooper Vaudeville, and Burns and Allen Vaudeville, RKO Vaudeville, it says.
Wow.
And then
Say goodnight, Gracie.
and then here's a billboard for Wholesome Bread, the creamier flavor of wholesome bread. Whoops.
That was the.
Here's the Fairmont Hotel, which is still around there, the State Theater, the Triangle Sign Company. Oh, here's Hirschfeld Paints. And they had a store in that area for a long time. There's a bowling alley down here and the Pantages Theater. Pretty neat. And ML Novak Jewelry. And so I'm not exactly sure which block it is, but they used the little lightweights on this thing until it quit. And then they moved them up to the Broadway line. Very stylish lady.
Car number 1.
Car number 1, you bet. And this is the corner of, it's either 11th or 12th in Hennepin. And you'll notice the Twin City Lines has a switchman out here with a switch rod. And so this is the corner of 12th and Hennepin, and the Bryn Mawr line split here and went on 12th for a block to Hawthorne, and then out Hawthorne. And of course, all these buildings are gone now. And this is looking at the block from the other end. The previous picture was taken from up here. So once again, here's Hennepin, and the Bryn Mawr line is going down 12th Street. There's the Wesley Temple over here, and the Minneapolis Auditorium kind of give you a landmark. And so it left downtown on Hawthorne and then out Laurel. Now Laurel, there's a stub of it in downtown. Here you see the Basilica, and it went across this this bridge, kind of rickety bridge over the railroad yards. Big gas thing over here, Fauché Tower. And they were single track, and when they came down on the other side, they were running in the westbound lane. So when the streetcar came back, it had to climb this thing against traffic and get to the top and hope it didn't hit on somebody. And then the camera turns around 180 degrees, and it went across what is now the Bryn Mawr Meadows athletic fields. And this is where, if you recall, when I did I read you a whole bunch of stories from the newspaper, and they talked about the swamp finally winning. This is where the swamp finally won. That they kept filling and filling and filling this thing, and there was no bottom to it. And finally, they said screw it, and closed the bridge, and replaced the streetcars with buses and rerouted them Cedar Lake Road to Glenwood Avenue, and just said to heck with this. And this is somewhere out in the neighborhood on Laurel in the middle of Bryn Mawr. I don't know exactly where, but clearly we have a mishap. So along came the other car. I'm guessing there were probably like 2 cars on this line, and they're going to see if they can pull it off. And then I ran this one. Here we are. This was the end of the line at Upton Avenue. Ann Watton Junior High School now occupies this open area. And so I think that derailment was somewhere around in here. But here you see the streetcar in the last block. And then here it is lying out, and you can see once again it's kind of vacant beyond here. They used the full-size lightweights on it too. And that's the end of it.